employs some 300 people. So, you know, really important organization for our employment, our community. And I was stunned to learn that Felipe is leading the business case for installing 1.5 megawatts of solar onto Neumann steel. And that is a huge amount. To put that in perspective, and Judy, correct me if I'm wrong, the next biggest is up in, it's the Aldi Distribution Center, maybe?
Well, Robina Town Center.
Robina Town Center. Okay, so we in the select board are starting to get serious about this, and my first question to you, Felipe, is like, what did it take to build the business case for this? Like, how did you mount the investment case so that it got over the line?
Well, that is a very interesting question. It's not something that someone one day wake up and decide to install a solar farm on a rooftop. So it took us on a quite journey to get there, which is, if you don't mind, I'd like to break down my question into 3 parts.
Go for it.
To make sense. So first, before we start exploring solar options for our operations, we decided to reduce our energy consumption. So that was our goal, reduce, so understand what are actually our needs related to electricity. So we conduct a full audit, electric audit in our operations, just to identify those big elephants in our operations, identify those key processes and machines that are consuming so much energy.
And part of why that's important is because if you just started by saying, how much energy do we use, how much solar do we need, you may buy way too much solar because you could just reduce the use first.
Yeah. So you need to understand, create a baseline assessment for what actually you need, otherwise you're going to create that massive size system that you actually don't need it. So that was basically our first step. So using those finds that we have from this audit, we decided to update out-of-date machinery. We also implement LED lights, which we are 100% on LED lights in our operations, and some operation changes that we did along the way, which is those key process that was high consuming energy, to avoid working during those peak demand hours. So for example, we remove night shift operations because it didn't make sense for us anymore. Then the next step was, so after we were happy with the energy reduction that we had, the next step was exploring solar. So our first solar panel system was installed at the start of the COVID, I think it was in 2021. It's a 99 kilowatt system which produces over 480 kilowatts hour a day for operations, which represents about 7% of our electricity needs, and was very successful because the system paid for itself in just over 3 years, which was great. Was a great business case for us. So using the reduction energy that we had, plus the business case that we did on the first solar panel, we then decide, okay, we're going to move next. So we developed our decarbonization strategy last year, which is aligned with federal and state government to reach net zero by 2050. So with this ambitious goal in mind and a solid strategy in place, we receive full support from the Neumann Steel community, and that including the Neumann family, the directors, our management, employees, our local community, which has provided a lot of support for us, and that's made the project viable for the business.
What a story, right? What a story. And now that you're on this journey, like, what are the benefits of that? Like, how do the staff feel about it? What are the financial benefits?
Well, I could be sitting here all afternoon talk about the benefits because there's so many. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is financial. a project on this size, which is going to be the third one in Gold Coast, yeah, it needs to have financial benefits. So it's going to give us energy security, which is a great one for us. And another one, create resilience for the future price rise on electricity, which, for example, just from December 23 to January 24, our electricity price just raised for 28% just in 1 month. So how are we going to pass that to the customer? It's just impossible. We cannot. So that was the financial. On the commercial side, we can see a massive increase on our customer base, looking to engage with companies that has prioritizing and implement sustainability practice on their strategy. So that was another one, especially for those tier 1 customers. Basically, if you don't have a sustainability strategy or decarbonization strategy in place, you don't participate on the tenders, for example.
So let's just unpack that. There are these 3 scopes of emissions.
Yes.
The emissions within a premise or a facility, the emissions that you buy in, and then the 3rd scope, which are called value chain emissions. For a company like Neumann Steel, they are the 3rd scope for things like the Olympics, where if the Olympics says it's going to be a carbon neutral thing, all of their supply chain need to respond. So how did that play in?
That played massively because with the new system, so just targeting the scope 2, which is the electricity usage on site, with this project we're going to reduce over 4,000 tons of CO2 emissions by 2032. So, which is massive.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll keep going, and then we'll come back, and there'll be other things. So I'm so happy to introduce Judy McLennan, who's, I think, a secret weapon for us here on the Gold Coast. Judy's just a delightful person. She's a coach to executives. She has real commercial acumen. She's been working also in the community sector in many ways around this challenge. And Judy is the convener for Renew, which is trying to really pull together this journey across industry community. Judy, it's been so confusing because I remember when I was told don't put on more solar, you can't put more on, because then the grid is going to be all blocked, you know. And then suddenly it was like, oh no, you should put on more solar. Mixed messages. Tell us about how much solar is going to need to come here to our electorate in the next, X years.
Well, Tim's actually said it, that we need lots. And I can't tell the numbers, but we need loads more. And you're right, it's been really, really confusing, hasn't it? Because, just a couple of years ago, there was talk about more solar, rooftop solar, and rooftop solar became a bit of a demon. Like, you can't put any more on, you have to be careful about it. And now we've just changed that narrative, and we actually know we actually need more rooftop solar as we go forward. And we need loads of rooftop solar. And the exciting thing is that we, as consumers, are going to be part of that transition. We're actively going to participate. So we're going from a top-down approach. The energy came in a very linear fashion from the generators, through the transmission lines, through the distributor, through your retailer, and you arrived, we bought it. So it was just they sold it, we bought it. And now we're going to transitioning to a very dynamic, distributed network where we're part of the solution. As consumers, we'll be part of it and contributing through our energy resources, or what another way of saying is our consumer energy resources, but our energy assets that we have will be participating and contributing to that transition.
So it's almost like we become consumers of energy. How does that help when we have like a really hot day and all the aircon is on? How does that change things?
Well, we've actually saved the grid in Queensland. So we haven't needed to build out the grid as much, and we've built in that capacity here in the Gold Coast and throughout Queensland. But our solar on the rooftop has saved the grid, so it's contributed significantly.
Okay, and Judy, please connect with people. after, we're gonna go downstairs and have pizza and beer, cause we like to eat. And, Judy, you'll be organizing some events maybe that help
Yeah.
pull together,
Yeah.
especially industry, but also consumers and, yeah.
So just contact me later. Thank you.